contained. Teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the shattered plane. I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Siddhartha, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings. To you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the shattered planet, I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Siddhartha, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the shattered planet, I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. We know supreme amongst humans you were born on this earth. You paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then, I prostrate, with pure bodies, form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate, with the supreme signs, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate, dust free like you, the 3 worlds are not, incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Saviour having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime reality, to the Dharma that pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realization, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Homage to the Supreme Buddha, homage to the Dharma refuge, homage to the great Sangha, to all 3 every devout homage, to all worthy of respect, bowing with bodies as many as all realms atoms in all aspects, for supreme faith I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the faults, be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. To page 15, the Heart of Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. I prostrate to the Arya Triple Gem. Thus did I hear at one time, the Bhagavan was dwelling on Master mountain in Rajagriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perfection. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasatva Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, and beheld those 5 aggregates also as empty and inherent nature. Then, through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasatva Arya Avalokiteshvara. How should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasatva Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness, without characteristic, unproduced, unseen, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore in emptiness there is no form,
no feeling, no discrimination, no composition of factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so on, up to and including no mind element, and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly, completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering should be known as the truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. Tayata, Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhisoha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice a profound perfection of wisdom, just as you have indicated. Even the Tathagatas rejoiced. The Bhagavan, having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara, those surrounding in their entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gadavas, were overjoyed and highly praised. That's spoken by the Bhagavan. To page 25, the short mandala. Sashi Pogi Junji Medoda, Rirapning Jini Gembadi, Sange Shingdu Mikte Uwagi, Drogonanda Jima Jopasho, Jetsa Lama Dape Kenanje, Jogu Kala Kense Tritene, Jeta Sambu Duche Zimala, Zake Chugi Chawa Abduso. Ida Guru Ratna Mandala Kamnidiyatayami Sanje Jatan Saji Janana Chanjo Bada Dani Jasanji Daki Chuchin Jivi Sanai Tola Benje Sanje Dubara Shu Sanje Jatan Saji Chana Hanja Bada Dani Jasanji Daki Chuchin Jivi Sanai Tola Benje Sanje Dubara Shu Sanje Chedan Saji Chana Hanja Bada Dani Jasanji Daki Chuchin Jivi Sanamji Tola Benje Sanje Dubara Ganga da Zenye Same Dawa da Jebawa Yin Temeshine Tenzewe Kudam de la Chazela Tunye Nye Jesan de Jewela Jesan de Kanji Dinde Chana Bema Dinde Jazal Sawa de Zajen de Lendo Jo Bande Zavela Marumba Jen Dagi Nindra Bemdene Bade Jembe Gune Jesan de Kusanto Je Mudo Zedo So Hai da Nzo Gulong 단단한 남링 셰서 탄조 튼지 말하면서 밀류된 된대직 토바디다 니마들이네 지금 아니 지 팬더요 지금 스탠다드 마치 지금 스테이지 되네 지 남링 순주 년제 심지 신라 편바 바식도 tum니지 지도와 지금 선배 꿀롱지 제쇼스로
adopting a correct intention in terms of the Lamrim, that is, we have secured the perfect human rebirth, and from this day onwards, one will make that perfect human rebirth beneficial and meaningful. And one does that by listening to the teaching, reflecting on it, with an eye to benefiting or developing a benefiting intention to work for sentient beings. Please motivate like that.
아야 다 가고 들이 냠람링 돌았는데 인기 총한테 배겨 상고 인참 가고 엄스러.
Now rejoice, thinking how fortunate one is to be able to hear the teachings on Lamrim again, rejoicing in that.
아야 당도 기진 대외된라 님불라면 진짜 구바사란다 닐라야 대외된서 말한도 밀류된여라 밀류된들라다 텐종어서 서로 대화지 좋아주 안들라야 지 텐종이 까왔어야 되네 배가는 이거 뭐가는 이거 주고는 이거 어다도서 조심하시 님불라면 진짜 구바스다 먼저 밀류된서야디 네 간제 겨울내야래 렐하고요 말아 제가 갈래하고 오늘 대된라 전다 전부 좀나 두투야게 된 개발 진행하면서 요 인자 대치를 님불렘 바스주다 대된라야 아니 최최고래서다 최최고래서다
쿨바 예.
근데 덴바레레 당하란서 지금 갈래자야 지 배샤서야 당 망고지 시두두 창마 샤제 도고다로 시두두 창마 야올샤네 도고도 하면서다 다 계야데 가려서나 아니 직 최제스데 셈바스 장고체 밀레 펜도체 수수셈 직배 계획초라야 아니 직 가져야 삼는 단토도 담바 되게 바자죠라 바자데 키제로 해름시 신다다 장마 잡르샤는 레리도 와다디 내단디 인장니 다 대외들은 닝부 걸랭 거래서나다 아니 계획 바자지 샤도야게 최치식으로 해서 어디 순고를 해서
We left off looking at the fact that we had secured and were recognizing a perfect human rebirth, qualified by 8 freedoms and 10 richnesses, and recognizing how rare it is, how difficult to find, but what great import it has. By way of example, its entity and its numbers. And then over and above that, the importance of taking the essence of that perfect human rebirth, making it meaningful in the sense that perfect human rebirth is not easy to find, but if used, once found, what you can accomplish with it is great. That's really true, isn't it? If we can, the essence of being made here is, or the point being made here is to practice the Dharma. That's really true. Why? Because it's a reality that at the time of death, one has to leave one's money, possessions, and so forth behind. What one can take with oneself are these well-intentioned thoughts or actions that have helped others, these virtuous things, the imprints left over from those actions and thoughts that we've done. Everything else must be left at the time of death. So taking the essence in that sense means to have these imprints with us at that time of death, have these good imprints.
다 니와데와 닝부치다 렌즈다나 최컨데스 최고고요레스와 다 최치고레스 라우로와
Ladil.
다 최 지고이나 아니 다 최세디 다 닝보들 닝보 단다 독도 들어 닝보 네 닝보디 최디 컨데스 쇼고레 슬라비나 안델레야 데제니 람치 남샤랑에 와께와당 델라 닝불렌즈 응어스다 람치 당보 람치당 좀시 차단지 녜바녜바스 시에바쳐고레스 람치디가 고신이 딘즈네 중밀로 숨주도도 바람 그러나 림바 차단지 시에바쳐고레스 당보데
맞아요.
시산에 아니다 냠내 컨데스고라 고칸에 쪽고레스다 어디레스다.
So then the second point is how to take the essence of being human, how to practice it. Well, there's kind of a general heading here and then the actual practice itself. So the general way of taking the essence of being human is to first know what it is we're practicing, to ascertain definitively that from relying correctly on the spiritual friends right up to the union of no more learning, the bodies of an enlightened one, to sequentially go through those stages. That's the general overview. And then after that, how to train in that. That's the essence.
다 람치 남샤셰은데 데라 단다갑데 람림이 내가라 끼우숨지 람지림베 나라야 아니 튀고 요레스다 제가 끼우숨지 람지림바데 아니 끼우숨지 람지 송라 탐지기 두줄라로 다 안저기 생고마 끼우숨지 로사미 봐 다데 양자 개천부 인상에 양자 짭되직 셴나로 끼우충우 끼우딩 끼우첨보스다 최 안저 최신이기 미디 대전 숨나는 두고야라 최신이 미디 안 대전 당보들 끼우충우 끼우딩 끼우충우스나 갈라고 그래서 나다 겨워치매 돈다 겨워치마 온들 함이고 뭐 타외 체도 겨워치마 안한서 다 미루된데 토비하게 체도 안에 직군조선라 잠로치야다 안에 짐바다야 주름선야 소금야 그냥 인시어와 어딜래야다 끼우충우신스리오레스로.
Now, coming back to that general overview of taking the essence of being human, it can be subsumed when we look at the Lam Rim by these three capacities of practitioner, or three scopes. And all of the scriptures can be condensed into practicing in those three levels. So you have initial scope, medium scope, and vast or large capacity practitioner. So the initial scope, what would their focus be? What would their purpose be? Their objective is to secure, again, a perfect human rebirth, and with an eye to doing that, they will take refuge in the three rare sublime ones, and then train in the 6 paramitas, such as the wish to give, ethics, and then patience, and all of those paramitas, and so forth.
다 지우 딩디 가래랍디 아니 다 미루된 토베이네 다 코와디나라 네기도 와라
야
아니 미루된레 다 제가나지당 알아서 년도보다 최베 동에 점에도보다 최베 동에 아니 란 되베 뭐고 제니 미니베 동이제냐 레샤스로 제가 델레 타와지고도 다 델레 타베 코와델레 타르에 타와직 토베야게 치도 아니 잠르다다 지 아니 렌데당 아니 지 짐바다야 수름소야 라서 디신냠네 조시야도서 딘데게 냠네 신이게 간산델라 아니 기우딩 신이라고요 레스로.
The middle capacity practitioner goal or purpose is to be liberated from the bondage of cyclic existence, the samsara. Okay, so having secured a perfect human rebirth is not enough at this level, because again, one has to go through this process of birth, aging, sickness, and death, not getting what you want, getting what you don't want, being separated from loved ones, meeting people you don't want to meet, and so forth, these various types of sufferings. So therefore, with an eye to that state of complete or state of liberation, one takes refuge, follows the law of the advice of refuge, which is causality, cause and effect, cause and result, and then the 6 perfections, and trains in the 4 noble truths for Aryas.
다라니 지고 코발레 타는 되면도와 가르스나 수술라 가딘신이게네 다 지고 중우다 지고 딩기 남냠네 야고 여나 렌데 그 남샤당 겨왕아지라 니시 니투여와 겨왕아지게 다 코든 야고 진이 두고요. 이베인자네 semje tamje range다 내디 거딘 침부치니 짠짠 레샤삼 셈나랑 예와지고 와 시고요다 이지 제우다만 하고고요 와 수수 쳇들라 수수 자와시우 때세 미지어로 와 대난신 semje tamje 대난신 레샤삼 수수 가부시스 레샤삼제 셈나랑 레기로 딜레온데 아지다 라니 지고 콜레 타는 디그멘도 와 수수기 자와 제세기 미디예데 코와 동행냥데도 디제데 엔동엘레 타와 치고도 대화 타와 치고도 어서와 아니 네 토베하게 탑람 다 가르도 수술라니 민도로 한간절라니 단다엘레 미신라 펜도 지시샤 수수 단다 야 동에세 두고요 뭐 디지도 두고요 말에 다술라도 어서와 네지 말한서 되도 삼노다나야 오여레 뒤정 말한서 지 베샤로 스제 지 희우 연구를 삼산지어라 베샤게 동에세 두 말에 베샤 가져요 나양으로서 팅상 르지 동에 내가 로지데 세 심고 동에 세 베샤게 전 세트고 말해 레다 지 타바단 탐제 점부터 주파스데 샤정엘레 갑즈디 스트레스 다 앵자이티 다 디저 릴레이션십 디저 상무 베샤게 두토고 말해 다 간다라 디저 소도야 고란 요 말이다 내가 인상 다 디저 오늘게 다데 다도게 디지 세 누바요니 디 산제레 샤로 산제 좀 된데 베나다 로니 동 두겨스 두고요르데레 단도에는 조심제 망고 저래 편도 치도고도 어딘데 직당에 치고고도라 심제신 산 디지털에다 동의 대약의 치료가라 아니 산지고 모토바 치기 인스 지제 아니 디삼노들레온데 아니 디에치도 아니 지기 점도 심제다 심제사 셈사데 제가 라니 지고 돈다선은 단데 마야 심제 탐제래 samtama sem jajewa sem je sigba sem je sido 수수 지고 sam나단데 엄마야 심지 탐제기 변신은 sem jajewa 세우라 어디 체운데는 잠로 sem제다 지소 파진 두고 냠내 친이 강산들라 아니 기우 첨보스 시제다 대전 남바산제베다 최친이 탐제 대전 숨디난 누르고 다 한다로
So now the vast scope practitioner comes to see it's not just about you, it's not just about oneself in terms of initial capacity, middling capacity. Well, having trained in common with those first two scopes, initial and middling capacity, one would have come to ascertain or come to see the cause and effect in work, the cause and effect, the law of causality in process, and therefore the existence of past and future lives. You would have gotten that on these two initial scopes. And having seen that, come to see the connection one has with other living beings. Having seen or seeing beings in that context of understanding past lives as having been kind to oneself as a dear parent, and seeing that type of kindness and affection going deeper and seeing that striving for this state free from the samsara is not just about oneself, but all beings equally like oneself in that sense want to be happy and do not want to suffer, just like you. So then you reflect further and come to see that you can't even at the moment free yourself from suffering and place yourself in ultimate well-being, let alone be able to do that for other living beings. So then it's very good for us, I think, in a real way to reflect like this, because we often put so much energy into making a living, into making money, and on that level, money might be able to help us temporarily on these physical levels, a little bit, isn't it, with the money level? But actually, in terms of these deeper things like, relationships and longer-term liberation and omniscience, it is the mind. It is the mind we have to work with, not just these things like money. So then you have to ask, who is it that can bring all beings to that state of that final well-being? So the final bliss, we look to the example of Buddha Shakyamuni, who was here 2,600 years ago, who achieved that goal of being able to fulfill the needs of self and other, the final liberation. So therefore, you come to see that this great vast capacity has like two. It has a refuge in the three rare sublime ones, but also mind generation, the second level of the bodhicitta. Here, the second level of mind generation is that you want to fulfill the needs of all living beings without limit. And to do that, you train in the six perfections. Now, we can see then only a Buddha has the ability to completely do that in terms of the results. So you go for the cause, refuge, and bodhicitta. Now, if we look at those three levels of capacity practitioner, all practitioners can be subsumed. All Buddha Dharma practitioners are subsumed within those three. No.
다 가서 제가 주스음이 남 두로도 다디나 남고 산제베 다 뒤에 말한서 상마다 냠nen식이 요소기요로 오늘 소소게 소소 저제 냠nen체 대전 가래는 누구도 따오르와 대전 당보되는 누구도 니와되는 누구도 숨바되는 누구도 서로 다디베야고요 대신베이나 용어란서다 정말 쇼베야랑 건다지 그 굴론제 직초지기 요소요로 예 최치야디 다 기부충을 차기도 기부딩차기도 기부첨부차기도 야면은 최대강게 즉 대답 제나 아니 다초 고란을 두고요 말다
yes
아니 세우차로고다 다 뭐네 아니 이런 미신데 계속 되고 말다 예 최대 최 두고 요담에 계속 되고 말해 수수 람림디 야고지 셴나 기부충을 기부딩체 보다는데 야고시에나데 군롱 찬내래가 제대로 당아랑 중에 기승음마 라인바 대전 시리에서 대전 시로 먼저 내가 지야도 베나타나랑 진짜요야데 군롱데 당아랑게 지금 선바기고요야 당 스트레스 당 앵자이티로 오던데 매와 차야 된대로 인템비나 이 초이스가 말해다 대세대 나와 집지로시래로 다딘데 마연바체 당에 대전 당보들에 대전 당보디 초고란 두고요 말에 체디가 하고도 직된 초제에서 봐 직된 초제가 나는 주나 아니 차고요 말에 체디기 또 담년다로 민텐데라 삼단제 제베이나 알아와도 배셔서야 소리인데 제베이나 아니 제메 밀파 셰야서 미질해야지 가자고 차야 소리인데 제베이나 다 펜도지가요 말어 제산테 최로 그런 도요 말에 근데 내가 대전 당보디 체디강 뜻이야지 이제 대전 숨바데네 당기시 주 중국다 주등 주 첨부셔와 됐음제 당한저 최도 지 가르쳐야 돼 정말 대전 시디나는 누구였다 당 안조 만차 대전 당보디 난 누구였다
망체
다 만차래 다 만차 누구를 체디강기 지 체디강기 강에서로 체디강 디체네 딩상 뉴 에지 소리도 망고치 레고도 하다 지 파스티네 직도 수스네 직도제네 내려서 상담에 가서는 수수 내가게 강해지 세야라 탑시전냐 제대로로
okay
데레메지게 다 타도게 되기요야라 상담 가고 싶다래 다 수수 땅통나니 저를 두고요로 담아두나니 저를 두고요 말해 어다들
now as I mentioned before there are these three we can say then that there are these three headings or three categories of capacity of practitioner, and it is up to oneself to choose which category is appropriate or suitable for oneself. So when you get up in the morning, you motivate according to one of those categories for, initial, medium, or vast scope. Well, of course, if you are motivating with neither of those categories and you are just thinking about this life, it's clear that one's practice there doesn't even become Dharma. Here, you don't need to ask others, what's my level? If you really check up and you know the Lamrim well, you'll know where you are. Remember, I mentioned there are these 4 different motivations we could have at the outset of our actions or work. If the first motivation is just to reduce stress, anxiety, worry, and to be happy and just make money in this life, that doesn't even become Dharma. That, in a sense, is mixed with the 8 worldly dharmas of having a name, clothes, money, reputation, or even having a certain type of knowledge that you could show others. That would not even be the Adharmic motivation. The other 3 categories, second, third, and fourth, are those 3 scopes we just went through initial, medium, and vast capacity. So one can choose therein. Now, most of us these days probably are mostly in the first one. If we're really honest, most of our strivings are just for this life. There seems to be this new age thing where we take bits from there, take bits from here, and everything gets kind of mixed. What people are searching for in this regard is a kind of a temporal happiness or bliss. I'd have to be honest and say that those that really go for that vast capacity of final Buddhahood are rare.
그래서 내도 유가 되는 저 굴론의 신변의 굴론이 야스도ing에다 간한저 최지야데 대화 첨부 최 태라 교 첨부 최 냠낸 돼야 배전시기요로 내가 되는 진달라 아디링에 진짜 지야데 심지 신의 평범 바식 최대 두고인 상담 굴론 지야데 가르스나 간한저 최대 대화 첨부 최로 돼야 최대 또 굴론 우즈겸니 자야 균젠티레스로.
That's why I'm always almost kind of pressing or pushing before every class that we make sure, put great effort into making sure our motivation is altruistic, of the benefiting intention, so that it becomes the practice of a great vehicle practitioner with all sentient beings in mind. That's why I press that all the time.
다디 내가 전부래 해서 신고해 들어와. 나란저 두중 나란저 내가 자침부 시부지 지금 요새 시야저로 세대기 지내가 지야던 강보서여로 천단으로 아니 지도와 비 공생도에 차시대로 강보로 직다로 강보는 잘라러녀로 모던녀로 지 개침부 던다 지고로 미유디 전주쇼로 세대가 평범하시로 다디 바지 겨치마 미 겨도야로 딜레 콜레 타래야로 딜레 심지 신라 편버도야 시등에 산제 고마도 일라서나 다디베 미유자 첨보래로도 아니 되게 소남데 규링부 피주다야도 아저 겨와지고 지가이나 굴론데 체대가나 잖아 이게 생각마지 시에사인바 체대로 조사르다 굴론데 체대래 요마라고 다 굴론데 겨와치만 편바이나 야 겨와지고 지가인 바가네 겨와치마서고 대두고요 다 굴론데 이게 타바터야지되나 타와마다서 겨와데 대두고 다 굴론데 심지 탐제지 산제지 고마도 대시데 베 심지 신의 표면 심지 신지 되지 마루산 말한 적이 개와데다 산제지 고마마도서 왔다 개와데 조야치는다 소남데 조야치는 요 말다 간다로 그래서 뱅 밸런스 조야치 요 말에 뱅 밸런스 찍디 단다란 조로요 찍디 개와치마 조로 찍디 타와도도 조로 찍디 산제지 고마도도 사고데데 개와네 대두고요 그래서 니신부이나 편연들과 편연들이다. 편연이 할레버리도 하죠. 아니 소남 랍침 뭐시옵시다. 소남 랍침부사는 아는 아주 레디온 가리나 두야 렐하고 봐. 소남데미 삼만남자 두세기도 소남 유나 아니 아주 레가 두비온 거. 소남에나 다 같이 재배네 요 말들로. 어디 내가로 어디 신부이나 네 배하고 요래서.
So a caution or warning being sounded here is that we might tend to think our motivation is altruistic, but we spend a lot of time trying to acquire things, going on holiday, looking after someone's house, buying things, acquiring more things. This but could be a small focus, just a small focus. But if we do those same things with the thought to benefit other beings and liberate them from cyclic existence, place them in a full awakening, then that could be vast. Remembering that it's the same virtue, but those same virtues have different results according to one's mind and intention. So if the intention behind those same actions is just for this life, then at the end of this life, the results are no more. If the idea is to secure a good future rebirth as human, once that is secured, then that merit runs out, that is used. And also the same with liberation. If your motivation is to a state of liberation with that virtue, then at the state of liberation being obtained, that merit is consumed. Finally, if the goal is to place all beings in that state of full awakening, this is very vast merit, because until that goal of each and every being enlightened is reached, the merit is not exhausted. So we're looking here at different bank balances Some have a lesser benefit, some have a great. Yeah, we can try and think vast.
다 교숨지 람라 되게 금쟁과 교숨 되게 금쟁 가래와 금쟁 가래 라이나 세상다 온돌함이 공방 와 다수수 누스르와 먼저 단다도더라와데 랑게 랑게 때도를 삼나 단제르와 아니 수수라니 징예송고 동엘에 타베하게 체드 미고마 더야라 베진 체드와 다간다 수수 냠뇽터네 시리라 아니 수수 미겨월린 신바 인자다 미 내가블레 강해전야르샤 델레 타르바치고도 스르와 안디 삼노도 땅용데 데 수수다 수수게다 냠뇽라 빡제 수수 타와타야가 삼스탄로 데 땅용데 아지다 수수 동에 미데바나신 수수를 제와예메 미친다디 제레샤아세 아니 팔아야 삼나탄투요로 좀제 대체는 거죠 규친리 주선지 람디 레고야데 내가데
The question now comes, why 3 levels of capacity? Why 3 scopes? Well, in the context of initial scope, you are human now, perfectly human now, and you are happy and you don't want to suffer. You don't want to go to a difficult migration. Again, you want to secure a human basis upon which you're happy. So experientially, we can see that first level. But then let's say you secure, again, a human existence, but there's no definite nature of that. So you want to go beyond that state of the constraints, of the suffering within the human realm to be liberated. So therefore, the second level comes in, because you want to go beyond just always experiencing these problems within the human realm. And then in the liberated state, one comes to see out of an affection for other, it is not just about oneself. One has to have a concern for other living beings in the same predicament who also need liberation. So therefore, vast capacity. That's why we have these 3 levels of scopes.
어디 람치랭에 와지주디 디고체다 저랑저 람렌 처모에는 디나마 로샤나 네 페제페제 코도그래는 고마도나 제레야 튜어는 디그라로.
So this is a general broad overview of the path in terms of the 3 scopes. It's very well laid out in the Lamrim, the great graduated stages of the path. Please read at one's free time, and if you have questions, bring them, if you're not sure about it.
람치랭에 와께와서 람치기 다 지스디 주친을 주좀 람치디 뭐센다데로. 다디네 딜라 닝불렌즈 뭐스로와 다 람치랭에 와니네 다 텐조 닝불랭고레 라로와 최최고레 라로와. 다 닝부 컨덴스 랭고레 닝불렌즈 뭐데 컨데레스 딜라야다 대전 숨지 쉐기도 하더니만.
Now, so what we've just been through is this general, what we've recognized is this general overview of the 3 levels of a Dharma practitioner, initial, medium, and vast. Now, second point, or second topic heading, how to take the essence of that, how to actually practice the Dharma once one is human. Again, there are 3 divisions to that.
당보다 가르치는 교충우당 투무에 남기는 벌로 장와스. 다 교충우스는 하고송아 교치마 온돌 하다미 고마터에 지되네. 다 잠르네 제베네 진소 파진투 다 진바 추림 송야도 저래 다저 어디서 냠낸 진이들라 교충우제 다 투무에 남기는 마선가 투무와스도 교충우당 교딩 투무. 아 니와들라 교딩당 투무에 남 교딩당 아니 교첨부 투무에 남기는 바 텐데시아요로 단도 투무에 남기는 바 사데 되래.
That is. So then, these 3 points are training in common with, training in the initial capacity and that which is in common with it, and then training with the middling capacity and that which is in common with the vast capacity. So what are these things that are common between them? When we look at the first level, we know that our goal is future life oriented, and that we want to secure the goal, we want to secure the body of a human or a god, and in that light we take refuge in the 3 rare sublime ones and practice initially the generous attitude, paramita of generosity and ethics, and then second level training in common with that.
타당보 규충 당 투모 람지ren 발라 세야들라 아니 숨샤도 규충 삼바장어 삼바디 기베체 규충 람지 세조라 티체 엔딜라 록도 가와 시티즌 숨리기도.
Now, that training, in common with the initial scope, again has three divisions. How to train, what is the sign that you are trained, and finally, what faulty states do you reverse? Yeah, so what do you turn back?
타당보라 직된 치마 퇴니지 로제와스다. 로 직된 치마 퇴니지 세디네체 겨와 치마 퇴니지 로제와. 직된 치마 대베 탑데마. 로다 직된 치마라 아니 퇴니지 로제와 마세 네 직된 치마 퇴니 로제나 펜도 가려요레스나 안 데라 대와요레스 로. 로앙에송 그 동에 냐모하게 대와데 요레스 최고라다.
Now, this first level, training in initial capacity, the two things we are doing are to turn towards future lives. And the second thing is the method to do that. Now, in that light of turning towards future lives, what's the benefit of that? Well, if we start to turn towards securing a good future life, the benefit is the bliss of an upper migration and reversing the possibility of a lower migration. That's the bliss there.
다 당보 직된 디르 링도 미네와 치와 템바 삼. 다세단 직된 치마 퇴니 로제라 갈고 거야스나. 다체디 가란도 밀류된디 텐조 니가 첼라 롱메베스라로 텐조 니가로. 아니 가란도 대베 다 류된디 녜발라. 단다 디송도 알로잖아. 대외된디 이신을 텐단니와 다리 잠신이 녜가 질라 나게로 간다서. 다 녜가 질라 나게로 간다서 아디 셰게요다 간조 텐데 류된디 아니 체단 링도 미데베 치와템바 삼바스로 직된디르 링도 미네베 치와템바 삼. 다 레르바 간조 밀류된디 상로다나 다디 다 가시에 근데 치워미다와 치워미다와 녜야라 가고 지금도
Okay.
다디 경으로 치워미다와는 리그레 가라서 상말라로 아니 제메 치워는 레연디 단다지 때 다릭 제외나 안되디 상단 펜다 용거와 다디 계제 마시에 가지우면 동안 시기 도스라 안파 요되나 아니 치워미다와 레디 아니 페미시 간레 가보도 다 마딘데 미망보 토송 스틸로 치워미다와 가보 지금도 하시나 다디 쪼버라데 강행원에디 치워미다와 레는 레그레 가서 그러 치워디 상말 하고 그런 렌식으로 아니 치외체 간데 치고 요미디 돌로 다릭 쳐야 돼 아니 낭배추 날라다 배 학월데 다 낭배추 견원조 당봉 즉 나라 가고 싶지거든 나날 치워미다고 고미야 겠냐래 치워 고미야 겠냐래 배디 나게 저거로 직 때문에 일단 너도 전날라 치워미다고 써야 되는 미시다야 말아 나게 냠내도 전날라 패지 제 대전에 나라야 치워미다고 된 거야 숨쉬가 죽던데 요래로 대전에 나라 아니 대전은 저 카시가 죽제도 패지 니마질라 치워미다고 주뉴시 숨지 삼는 거야 된대 요래로 그래서 나게 냠내나라 치워가면 치워 냠내 지야 잖냐래 대전에 등산 기생 예자랑 자와지 디 치워미다고 다 냠내 야고 체제 두담 니마 숨지 수업 되는 식으로 제가 두zu 그래서 다득 야고 체베 따로
Okay.
다 다득 마신이디 시사회질로 시주징이질로 풍부 팀어가야래 팀어가야래 미시 펜도 되어 말다 레공대로 어디래다 다디 당국계제 당국 거디도 녀보여 말들래 갈래갈래 야고요.
So then, this initial level of training, turning the mind towards future lives. How do we do that? Taking the focus off this life towards future lives, welfare, and in context of perfect human rebirth, we come to see how we have to reflect how rare it is initially to get that perfect human rebirth, but more importantly, how fragile it is and how impermanent it is. That is the way to reflect and start to turn towards future lives. As it says in the text, in your text, I think second page, this body of leisure more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel, is found at once, though difficult to obtain again. It finishes as quickly as lightning in the sky. As lightning in the sky is talking about the second aspect of perfect human rebirth. Not its difficulty, but its impermanence. Now, a lot of people don't like to go into the fact that they're going to die and that they're impermanent. They don't like it. But actually, it is very good to think on one's death because it's good to get ready. It is good actually to be prepared. There doesn't have to be something that one is scared about. But conversely, I've met a lot of people who kind of fob it off. But then latterly, when they come to that death moment, being unprepared, quite a lot could come up for that person around death. They might not like it, or they might get these appearances of fright. But really, in Buddha Dharma, in the context of this death and impermanence, everything, I know that people really, these days, they really like the idea of Tantra, practicing these higher levels of Buddha Dharma. Everything in Tantra is a preparation for death. It's like a death meditation. So therefore, when you're really thoroughly going through the tantric practices and stages, you would have all of these divisions in the text. And in this series of a day, 3, 4, 5, 6, all of these different divisions, and this 10, 20, 30 times, you might go through those death stages if you're doing it properly. So recently we had a monk that was in Tukdam for 37 days. This shows that this practitioner had prepared very well. Apart from that, if you hadn't prepared well and you die and the body starts to smell, that's a sign that you hadn't prepared very well. Perhaps we won't go into that too much now.
Tayan dusla nan degree. Unzo tanda chiwa mindawa ke che de kom jamne. So kom yago yo na ni jawa chima la rawan yo re so la rawa. Ande yago do. Jawa chima do sa rawan ji yo na ale jawa mongo me na jawa niwa de so rawan yo de na dotum na. Yago do rawa.
Okay, let's look at death and impermanence like this. If you can meditate on death and impermanence well, and you're grounded in it, you have much more choice where you are at the time of death. You can have control.
데레도 다데 subject design 카시에 실리기도 하더니 막.
Martin Benjamin, she will pay you the rest of it. She will meet up.
다 그래서 제가 막 쉬우도 되는 컨디션 다.
Yeah.
다 데레 가라서 되게 먼저 장말로 가르삼당 그래서나 아니 먼저 미디 제니 시기보다 장말 이제여로 장말 gellen지 그래로 네 시다 시그래서 장말 시도래서 제가 장말 최켈린 반도 말레모 장말로 하고 그래 미 제게요보다 시기요보다 계절티나 하고 그래 gellen지 그래 다 이나야 단다 내가 시기 말해서 어디래다 지금 말된 님이데 내가부터 시기 말해 텔레라고다 산이 시기 말해 디네 시기 말해 삼삼 여러다 어디 디가서 네 레로망고 소고요 최지야게 바제 치슈에 되어들 시다 시기래 이나야 다 로직 대 시기 말해 로직 대 시기 말해 가시에 산이 시기 말해 디네 시기 말해 삼삼 여러 어디 네 먼저 최그 바제 치슈에 되다 어디에서
Approaching death like this, we know it's a reality that we will die one day, and whether people believe in Dharma or not, they accept that. That's a given. What they don't think is that they won't die now, or that they might die tomorrow. They think that a month from now they'll still be here, a year from now they'll still be here, or even closer, tomorrow and today we'll still be here. Now that first then demerit of not reflecting on death is a big obstacle. This is a big obstacle that stops us practicing Dharma and it makes us lazy.
치워 곰나 편요 가려요래 서와 지나서 하나 치워 미다고 곰네 삼 편도 가려요래 삼다나
Yeah.
편도 쉬워요래 가서나 찍네 나란서 되바 첨부치야 매버와 되바
Yeah.
되바 첨부 매바 니네 나란서 메제 튼두디리나 첨부제 되고도 와 메제 튼두래 대면도 디즈링가 첨부제 기부시제 되고도 세
Okay.
삼로대 연구로 받다고 로야 다 대제링가 기부체 대어로 가도 되게 하고 만들어서 사실 요르자냐 서치 되기도 안 두줄라 닝지게다 아지다 메지 툭툭슬에 대면 대제링가 요르자냐 서 되기도 사네 즉 파르볼라 닝지게다 수수이네 지카서그래 귤을 착신총으로 해야다 아니 지 고야 마는 용도야 아니 된다 매베 레가로고 지야 때 뉴르도 해야와 이직다 나란서 되게 와다 직 탄다메 내가 망보직 제로고 여러와 안저 와 두저 아다도 처음엔도 돼 탄다시라면도 와 샤시다 내가랑 탄다 예워지 치고도다 최시 제나 야서에서 아니 신두주 수수수수 셈라야지 구자로지 레야를 치고 미다고디다 약쇼 요레스로 편 치고 공배 편요래다데
Conversely, what are the benefits of reflecting on one's death and impermanence? Well, immediately one's desires will become less. And also, secondly, one should think that life is not long. In that context, we should have affection for each other and get on well, because it's not sure when we will die. So it takes so much energy to have difficulty. And then troublemakers, when we look at them, when we see people going through troubles with each other, not having love for each other, when we see them never being satisfied with a lot of desires, they could be an object of compassion for us, because we could think, oh, life is short, life is not long, just leave it. So once you start to leave that clinging to this life so much and meditate on death and impermanence, one starts to see that benefit of it.
아니 근데 가보던데라 테르도 착바지제 당아디다 테나데 베사그선 지다지로 안아서서 가보디다 샤나 베사그선 지다지로 테베 담아 테웨인스 테베닌가 그런 테야 고족사래로 제베 담아 시웨인스 와 제베닌가 대 시야게 요 고족사용 거예요 아니 테베 담아 테웨인스로 테드스 나란도 조고직 테사도 이미직 테르 그런 주인이래 딜레 신나지고야 된데 요 말아. 어딘데기다 저 미대고 삼로다나. 아니 삼로데 야셔로도 동행 용어여다. 간다 동행 용어여래서.
And then the reality of reflecting on death, when you see it reduces the desires attachment, because if you see death, you know that one day you must separate from those loved ones. And then therefore why have so much attachment to them if you know that one day there must be a separation there? Because as it is said, everything that has a meeting must have a parting. Everything that is born must die. Everything that joins ultimately separates. This is just the nature of things. So if one comes to see that in the context of death and impermanence, there's less clinging, desire goes down.
제단한다 나란주 기지셔야데 레뇽이 기지셔버들와 제단 최 고미하고 잡이나 디도야 요래다 레뇽이 기지디 가야요 간저 단다 다좀 모터도 치다가 뒤좀색도 안다 뒤시 좀색도 다좀 모터도 치다가 뒤좀색도 치다가 뒤가래 치워디 레나 뇨모on기 치워디 좀성 제단 먼저 산제 고마탐네 가래에서나 치다가 뒤좀라고 요러고 먼저 이 참으시도와 되게네 배 탁신 타베 나와샤제데 아니 레다 뉴모기 겨울랑 시시하지도 먼저 무비디 로상 가자다 로 가자는 무비 요머라 제상서 예 고미하고 잡이나야 닛 매우서야 요래서 띵안서 상무디 제타나야고다 먼저 곰 잡이나 안당안저 시야다 제야지도 레뇽 고홀 거리지도 티 매우서야 요래서 건다 매우서야는다 아지당 아직 지구도 삼상 로제 냥가도 알아 레와도와 직지야도와다
the whole reason we meditate is to see that the process of birth and death is driven by karma and disturbing emotions. So to vanquish that, what the arhats do is reverse that process of being controlled by karma and disturbing emotions to overcome death. So it is a mind that is liberated and goes to Buddhahood. So when there's no light on the projector, there's no movie on the screen, it would be like that. There's no play of birth and death once the afflicted mental states have been vanquished. Sorry. Yes, I forgot to say, when the arhats achieve that fruit of foe destroyer, the 4 maras have been vanquished. And death is one of those.
Yeah. 산제기 디메고 세요로 제가 산제를 요마래 풍부들이 요마래 풍부라고 하대. 테네다 네 치다가 두셔야 돼. 단데 디레 가서 그래. 네. 먼저 레뇽이 제지시워들바 가라서 단다 시버다 껴워서 레다 뉴몽이 유젠지 온게 유가르 팡샤와 다가나르면서 델라 조답스케 요마로 받고. 다 디메고서도 디메베 뒤지 연구요래. 근데 내 하이프 두스다 디 두시디 지단나 치로게 지금 하단 지셔야 되거든. 저디
영화
네다 두저레다 되자단 시단다 콘도당가 예단 두저 왕기 마 점바디시레미시 치로게 단다 지단 하이브 두셔야 되라. 직된벨 하거로 원죽당 원죽당 상가단 두저 샤요다. 두저 좀 샤요다. 두저 좀 샤야 돼. 두저 겨울라면도 월 코나에 되거다. 어다 간다 두시셔야 돼. 어두시에네 좀 야게다. 다좀바 산제 마더베이나 다좀 텀네 먼저 뒤에 레뇽기 계지 치모고 어디 연구요래 데모고다 들방
yeah. So these overcoming these 4 maras at the level of being an arhat, destroying them or vanquishing them, firstly the Mara of Afflictions is destroyed. We all are subject to these afflicted mental states, desires, attachment, aversion, jealousy, and so forth, invalid emotions. They are overcome by the arhats. And then the affliction of the aggregates. If we look at our aggregates, our bodies, our aggregates are contaminated. They are a product of karma and disturbing emotions. The aggregates of a Buddha, the Buddhas don't have a gross physical body. They have a body of light. And so therefore the Buddhas don't have these gross aggregates. The 3rd Mara is the Mara of death we've been talking about. So overcoming that. The fact that we have to die due to karma and disturbing emotions. In fact, due to causes and conditions, we must face our death. And in that sense, we're kind of tossed about. We don't have a choice. And then the next one is these Maras of Garabangchuk. These maras of the gods, which could be taken to be, there's an outer and inner level, but at the inner level, here what you're really doing is getting over the disturbing emotions so you can't be distracted. So therefore, coming back to the arhats and Buddhas, they're beyond delusions. So therefore.
다 저 미다와 나 컨데스 공부래 해서 미다고 와서다 미다고라 타라니 미다고라고 받으래 나 갑자기 고미야데 갑자기 치워 미다와 고미야데 미다고 라고래 먼저 디 당보들에 다 될어야 아니 자워숨세죠 데마 상문다는 대편도 전부요 따라와
여러분
자워숨 균제구 타져숨 드링데 자워숨디 셰제디다 상문데 스탄tum 데드윤에 다 람린나다 subject도 배 타져보도 차자 망해비나 자워숨디하고 신예비나 데배 편도여러
Now, when you meditate on death and impermanence, there is a gross level and a subtle level of impermanence. So we will look at the gross level, of course, that comes first. So that is laid out in the texts in terms of these 3 roots and 9 reasons And then you come to 9 assertions or conclusions from that process. So this is quite thorough in the big lamrims, in the lamrims. You don't need to necessarily go through all the points, but what you should be commensurate with are these 3 roots, and I thought we'd go through those today.
다들이 자오스음디 녜와 치와삼바 남진 예메삼 치베지 최만도 강게 메변바 다디 삼라양세야 스탄트웨이 나무네야고요.
That's very good. So reflecting on this first one, that death is definite. Secondly, the time of death is uncertain. And thirdly, the only thing that matters at the time of death is one's dharma. So these are very good to reflect on again and again.
녜와 치와삼바스디로 미지 깨어친제라 시로르미지 마시바 대든지 제면도와 미인친제라 와 세상 녜와르 치그리미지 지 마시바 대든지 제요 말에스타 간다 데레 데레와 다 대당한서 이내 지용은 삼단계요 말와 장산랑 수시시기와데 템바지기요로 시야 템바제제니 손조 먹고 시비치기요로 잘라다한테 먹고 시비치소 문에신나다 시비치기 손조 시야요 말와 시비시비 대요 말하다 나랑서 베나 나도이나다 시비시비 대야지 계jago 말아 롱압진나 립사르다 시다시다 칸 아 시다시다 지잖아 갈래 가로 윤다.
The first point, that death is definite. Born, gonna die. That's it. Not much more to it than that. But we forget. We forget. And in that forgetting of the death being definite, we make plans, we get things. But in reality, it's not long. Myself, I'm 50. How much time I have left? Not long. I don't know.
근데 데려와 녜와치와 남신 예매서라 다 가두치디 녜오면도 알아요. 와 덴데 개면도 왔다. 가두시기 예매 하고야 개면도 알아.
Yeah. When will we die? Well, that's not certain. There's no definite condition around the time.
다 치외세로와 가르편도도 최마도 강의자매 뱀봐서 다들이 내가 될 산다. 와 치료도 당원에 처음이지 기능 편도면도 다 최고 편도거도 최고 병원에 편도더라 치료도 편도다 치외세 처음에도 강의자매 뱀봐.
This third point is very important, that when death does come, what is important is one's insights into Dharma. That will benefit at death.
계시슈디 다투용을 최제스도 인지민지 다제 권 진짜 개치고 말어 최제 삼바상보체로 삼바상보체 아니 수수 셈디 밀레 펜도요체 아니 셈디 지다 직군조다 딘데레 이제유나 이제요체 렌데레 이제요체 아니 셈바드 가두이나다 삼바상보체가 셴뱅게 삼바상보체가 돼 내가 전부 쉬어지래 뒤에는 아니 때제 삼발 흘려용 거로 시갈라오데 삼발 흘려요나 야고요래 다시 리나랑 암다 당 아제 당 직다 당 둥에 당 딘데게 이네 tomba이나 인디 데네 겨와치마 야고용 거 말해 와그 주주주도로 와 주대 걔네가 그 주대 시갈라오 셈데 개좀 쉬어라
So in that light, then what does it mean to practice Dharma so that it will be beneficial at death? That doesn't mean taking robes, not like that. It means being a kind-hearted person and turning the mind towards others, having thoughts of others, and also having our conviction in the 3 rare sublime ones and what is taught by the 3 rare sublime ones in terms of causality, the law of behavioral cause and effect. And then, of course, they're just benefiting others. If you have concern for others' welfare, your mind tends to be more relaxed. And a relaxed mind at the time of death is good. Conversely, if at the time of death there is fright, there is worry, there is suffering, then the conditions around the death could be difficult for the future life birth because it is a causal thing happening at the time of death, and that could cause or as a result in the lower realm.
제가 양은저 타와다 아니 치나 편도 첨부야 다르와 타와 제비나 타와 동발렌토이나 아니 최대 세게 최대 붐직 샹벌레 타와직 제외 소남데 소남 망어요 송도 휴직 소남 첨부야
But having taken vows as an ordained, as a nun or a monk has tremendous benefits. You will having taken those vows, make much more merit than having consecrated 100,000 golden stupas,
아니 세딜레 답디부도 레가로 체데 잘라로 이네 시다 고야 개면도 총간다도 와도 시다 따야 개면도 알아.
And this life's activity when you're ordained becomes much less. You don't need much when you go into the shops. What do you need?
시다 따야면도 우수다 한국다 긴지다 된다면서.
You might need some shoes. Oh, socks. Yes, you're right.
Socks a little bit harder, finding. Socks very hard to find. Yeah.
Difficult to find red socks in Nelson Gisela.
Yes. Very hard. Very hard.
Wanaka
a little bit harder. We bought Wanaka last day. Yeah, I bought it. Wanaka. Yes. That's it. 디 자워숨디 삼루다르와 치왕이 남징이 치외지 치매다 강매변바 데마 롤시 디 삼라양시양 스타메이나 다 치워 곰주들바데 제니 치워 템바치다 곰바스다 제르무친 곰단데 숨으로 곰단 오데레다
Now it's good if one can memorize these three roots, that death is definite, the time of death is uncertain, and only Dharma is of benefit at the time of death. Well, what we're talking about here is Lama Tsongkhapa's method for meditating on death. That's it.
Tadi yang samlu tambayina ani tuyun chi mezena la kangero botende yude ta shira ke mare shigala wodi pento mare roya khashege di keje mushuri da jiji majela de ne ta sidu pente over vesana sidu ni pento mara da tegdo
And if one becomes familiar with those 3 points, when you face problems in life, try and think of those problems in the context of death. Some people, when they face little things, it's such a big deal, this and that. But actually, in the context of death, that's not a big thing. How can those things they're worrying about benefit at death, really? If it's so then leave that. If they're going to worry about that, if it's a big thing for them, then let them get on with it.
Oh yeah, that the lamrim nyangur lamrim dudun jana yagoda.
Leona.
Tangi sig the lamrim dudun do.
Gisla dirasong di shlokadi.
Oh di.
Unzo lamrim namgyur di yora injikola.
Oh di made.
Yeah. It seems we will recite again the text. Sorry, you have a beautiful voice.
A hymn of experience. I bow my head to you, foremost of the Shakyas, whose body is formed by 10 million perfections, virtues, and excellence, whose speech fulfills the hopes of infinite transmigratory beings, whose mind perceives all objects of knowledge. I prostrate to Manjushri and Maitreya, whose emanations sport in innumerable universes, assuming the responsibility of all the conqueror's conduct. You are the supreme sons of the peerless teacher. I prostrate at the feet of Nagarjuna and Asanga, ornaments of Jambudipa, renowned throughout the 3 levels, who compose commentaries in accordance with the intention on the mother of the conquerors so hard to fathom. I bow to Dipankara Atisha, holder of the treasury of instructions, that gathers together the important points completely and unmistakenly. On the paths of profound view and vast conduct, the excellent lineages descending from the two great charioteers. I prostrate respectfully to the spiritual teachers, eyes that see all the infinite scriptures, who with skillful means, moved by compassion, clarify the supreme entryway for the fortunate travelling to liberation. The stages of the path to enlightenment are the excellent lineage handed down from Nagarjuna and Asanga, crown ornaments of the wives of Jambudvipa, and banners of fame resplendent among transmigratory beings. This instruction, the king of powerful jewels, fulfills all the desired aims of the 9 types of beings. It is an ocean of glorious and excellent explanations, gathering the rivers of 1,000 fine scriptures. Through it, you can realize that all the teachings are without contradiction. Understand all the scriptures as an instruction. Easily find the intention of the conqueror, and be protected from the abyss of the very faulty conduct. Therefore, this supreme instruction is relied on by many fortunate ones, the wise beings of India and Tibet. What analytical person would not be captivated by the stages of the path of the 3 types of beings? Contemplate the meaning of this method that gathers the essence of all the scriptures. Even teaching or hearing a single session definitely gathers great waves of the assembled benefits of explaining or listening to the Holy Dharma. Rely correctly and with effort in thought and action on the holy spiritual friend, the teacher of the path, and the foundation perfectly bringing auspiciousness. For all the excellent collections of this and future lives, having seen this, do not give him up even at the cost of your life, and please them with the offerings of practicing just as they instruct. You, the perfect Guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. This body of leisure, more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel, is found but once, though difficult to obtain again. It finishes quickly as lightning in the sky. Having reflected in this way, realizing that all worldly activities are like winnowed chaff, you must take its essence day and night. You, the perfect Guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Although there is no certainty that after death you will not be reborn in the bad migrations, the 3 rare sublime ones will definitely protect you from this fear. Therefore, steadfastly take refuge in them, and never degenerate their precepts. In addition, think well about the results of black and white actions, and depend on the correct practice of that to be adopted and that to be rejected. You, the perfect Guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Until you attain a body of pure characteristics, you will not make progress in your practice of the supreme path. Train in the causes for becoming free of these impurities. Since your 3 doors are defiled by negative actions, downfalls and stains, it is particularly important to purify karmic obscurations. Therefore, continuously cherish reliance on purification of the 4 forces. You, the perfect Guru, practice in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. If you do not put effort into contemplating true sufferings, the faults of samsara, you will not develop the wish for liberation. If you do not contemplate true origins, the step for entering samsara, you will not understand how to cut the roots of samsara. Therefore, rely on weariness, definite emergence from samsara, and cherish the knowledge of what binds you to samsara. You, the perfect Guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. The generation of the mind is the central post of the Mahayana path, the base and support of great waves of conduct, a philosopher's stone transforming all into the 2 collections, a treasure of merit gathering infinite virtue. Having understood this, the heroic children of the conquerors maintain deeply the pledges of the precious supreme mind. You, the perfect Guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Generosity is a wish-fulfilling jewel, satisfying the hopes of transmigratory beings. The supreme weapon cutting the knot of miserliness. The activity of the children of the conquerors that strengthens courage without dismay. And the basis of being renowned in the 10 directions. Having understood this, the wise rely on the excellent path of giving away their bodies, possessions, and virtue. You, the perfect guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Morality is water cleansing the stains of faulty behavior, moonlight dispelling the hot torment of the afflictions. As splendid as Mount Meru in the midst of the 9 types of beings, it gathers all transmigratory beings with no threat of force. Having understood this, the holy beings guard morality, correctly taken, as they do their eyes. You, the perfect guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Patience is the finest ornament of the powerful, the supreme of all hardships counteracting the torment of the afflictions, a Garuda against the enemy, the snake of hatred, and thick armour against the weapon of harsh speech. Having understood this, cultivate the armour of supreme patience in many ways. You, the perfect guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. When you don armour-like effort, steady and immovable, with qualities of scripture and realization will increase like the waxing moon. All your behavior becomes meaningful, and whatever actions are undertaken will be accomplished as desired. Having understood this, the conqueror's children put forth billowing waves of effort, dispelling all laziness. You, the perfect guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Concentration is the king ruling the mind. When placed, it is immovable as Mount Meru. When set forth, it engages all virtuous objects. It induces the great bliss of a serviceable body and mind. Having understood that, the lords of yogis rely continuously on the meditative stabilization that destroys the enemy, distraction. You, the perfect guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Wisdom is an eye seeking profound thusness, the path eradicating the root of existence, the treasury of qualities praised in all the scriptures, and renowned as the supreme of lamps dispelling the darkness of ignorance. Having understood this, the wise who desire liberation generate the path with much effort. You, the perfect guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. One point of concentration alone is not considered to be able to cut the roots of samsara. Wisdom separated from the path of karma abiding will not avert the afflictions, no matter how much you analyze. Having mounted the wisdom that reflects on the real mode of existence upon the horse of steadfast karma binding, with the sharp weapon of the logic of the middle way, free of extremes, destroy all mental fabrications, grasping at extremes. With vast wisdom analyzing this way, increase the wisdom that realizes thusness. You, the perfect guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. The meditative stabilization achieved by one-pointed meditation is not enough. With the individual investigation of proper analysis, generate the meditative stabilization that abides firm and immovable on the mode of existence. Having seen this, understand how wonderful are those who endeavor to accomplish the union of calm abiding and special insight. You, the perfect guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. In meditative equipoise, emptiness is like space. In post-meditation, emptiness is like an illusion. Through meditation on both method and wisdom are unified, whereby the perfect conduct of the conqueror's children is praised. Having realized this, the tradition of those of good fortune is not satisfied by either path alone. You, the perfect guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Having generated the common path necessary for the two supreme Mahayana paths, the causal and resultant, rely on a protector, a skillful master, and enter a great ocean of the classes of Tantra. Then through reliance on complete and perfect instructions, Make the attainment of your leisures and endowments meaningful. You, the perfect Guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. Due to the virtue from explaining in clear words the perfect complete path pleasing to the conquerors, so as to familiarize my mind with it and to benefit others of good fortune, I made the prayer, may all transmigratory beings never be parted from the excellent pure path. You, the perfect Guru, practiced in this way. I, who am seeking liberation, will also practice in this way. To page 31, the orange book with a short mandala. Sashi poke jukshik me tog tram, ri rabling jini di gen pade, sange jingju migte buvagi, drokun namda jingla jo pacho, jetsa la me kutse rabte jing, nakatrin le chokju ge padang, lo zang ten pedro mi sasumgi, drowe munsel tak tu ne guji, idam guru ratna mandala kam niryatai ami. Page 33, Prayers of Dedication. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase more and more. Whatever slight positive potential I may have created, by paying homage, offering and acknowledging my faults, rejoicing and requesting that the Buddha stay and teach, I now dedicate all this for full awakening. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best, by the victorious ones thus gone of the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the King of Dharma, Tsongkhapa's way of Dharma practice flourish. May the omens of obstacles be pacified, and all the conducive circumstances be complete. The wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Saviour of snowland teachings and transmigratory beings, who makes extremely clear the path that is the unification of emptiness and compassion, to the lotus holder Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. You who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serves the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjanath's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplish magnificent prayers, honouring the 3 jewels, Saviour of myself and others, your disciples, please, please live long. By relying on the jewel accumulations of myself and others in the 3 times, may the teachings of the conqueror Losong Drakpa blaze for a long time.